Hello, welcome back to another episode of Patchats. I have abandoned doing intros for episodes with guests because of the feedback I've gotten from mostly my wife, who says, you don't need to talk for 10 minutes before you get to the part where you talk to somebody. And I was like, you know what, that's a fair point. It's self-indulgent. But I felt like for this episode, it needed a small little bit of context. So we're just doing a quick intro. I'm going to rush right through. I'm rushing through the intro. I'm getting through the intro. First thing I wanted to address, I'm here outside again because 19 people said, hey, we really liked your outside cast. So here I am in the outdoors again. The other thing I wanted to say with being here in the outdoors again is that the weather in Barcelona, you might remember it from last week's episode, wasn't so great. I went there to get some sun, and the funny thing is the universe was like, hey, fuck you for going to Barcelona to get some sun. I'm going to make it gray in Barcelona and beautiful and sunny in Berlin. So this message brought to you by the universe telling you to fuck yourself. Now, today's guest is Marnie Manning. She's a very funny comedian from Barcelona, and you should go get in the links in the description below. Follow her on social media. If you're in Barcelona, go to one of her shows. They're amazing. And the quick bit of context I wanted to give to the episode is, one, we talk about Marnie's childhood friend, Hazel, who's a friend of mine who connected us. And that's kind of the connective tissue that brought us together. So we referenced that in the episode, and I wanted to explain it. And the other thing is I wanted to give a teaser, what they call in the show business, a teaser. At the end of the episode, Marnie found a scratch-off lottery ticket on the ground, and she was like, let's go, cash it, we can film it. And oh boy, was it exciting. So you got to stay all the way till the end of the episode to check that out. Or if you don't stay till the end of the episode, just fast forward to the end. The YouTube analytics can't tell the difference, so I don't care. But it's a good, fun thing that's happening at the end of the episode. And I learned something. You know, that's what the amazing thing about travel. You know, you learn something. And I don't know if it's a Catalonia thing or if it's a Spain thing. Honestly, if it's a Catalonia thing, I don't think they should have their independence. But they take their disabled people and they put them in tiny boxes on a street corner to sell scratch-off lottery tickets and cash scratch-off lottery tickets. And I mean, yes, the profits of these lottery tickets go to disabled foundations. But is that a life you want to live, living in a tiny box like this on a street corner selling scratch-off lottery tickets? It seems like a crazy thing to do with your disabled people. Anyways, that's what we call a bit. I was doing a bit. So that was something. Sorry, Marnie. Okay, let's get into the episode. The wonderful Marnie Manning. Enjoy now. Okay, but so let's just, I always like to start by having the guest introduce themselves so that, you know, people know what your name is and, yeah.
Okay. My name is Marnie Manning, and I am an American. That sounded really strong. I'm an American.
Yeah.
You get that right? Respect.
Respect.
Red, white, and blue. I'm an American who lives in Barcelona, and I'm a stand-up comedian and performer.
And we know each other because we share a childhood friend of yours.
The best woman in the world, Hazel.
Yes. Special thanks to Hazel for this introduction.
Connection.
So I always like to talk a little bit about like childhood and stuff because I don't know, I guess my childhood like affected me in some way.
Well, at least you're a man who admits that.
Yeah.
A lot of men don't admit that, right?
Well, I've been in therapy since I was 21. So
21? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Late start. All right.
Fair. So, but what, you grew up in Boulder.
Yes.
Now,
Boulder, Colorado.
I think of like Boulder as being very, like, hippie and
okay, I like you said you think of it because you cannot tell me that you have never been to Boulder, Colorado.
I mean, I love the Flatiron.
Have you? Okay, so you've been there. You've been there.
I've spent some time.
Yeah.
I've spent some time.
I mean,
in
you still smell like it. I mean, you look like you smell like Boulder.
I've daydreamed of, living in a van outside of the city. And
You can aim higher than that.
okay, I've daydreamed of owning. I'll be honest. I'm like, even daydreaming, it feels like a reach to own a home in Boulder. So,
yeah. Oh, I can't imagine. Yeah. So I grew up in Boulder. What was the question about it?
Just
You've
like
never been there. You think about it as like hippie.
I think of it as like a hippie place, but I'm like, that's what it is now. But you were there in the 90s. Like, I imagine it was like a little bit of a different vibe. It's changed.
And my parents are from Texas. My parents are born and raised in Texas.
They let them in Colorado after
They
that.
did. They did.
Okay.
They needed a safe haven. So when my dad moved there to kind of like explore like a more nature-y. I mean, essentially, like my dad has been like painting for like 8 hours a day every day since I was like, I don't know, 10 years old or something.
Wow.
So really, he made this big shift, taking the family from Texas to like live an arts lifestyle or to be outside.
So were you born in Texas?
I was, yeah, and I
Okay.
lived there until I was 3.
Okay.
But still, so this hippie aspect. Oh, hi, Arnell.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hey. The hippie aspect of it is kind of was a little lost on my family. We were a little confused by that. So
But
I never felt like so much part of that because my family wasn't. So
yeah, but I mean, your dad was a painter. That feels very like.
I guess.
And
So.
he moved to Colorado to find himself. Like,
I guess. It's hard to explain. Yeah.
I mean, I think like so. I guess what I'm also like always interested in like Colorado is I get this like I don't know. I just feel like when I met kids from Colorado, I was like, wait, how are you guys so much like cooler? Like
that we're just really relaxed.
Yeah, they just had like a vibe to them where it was like either you're cool or you're like a real deadbeat. Like,
yeah, or those things are both totally true.
Yeah,
Like even some kids that were really cool, like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Do you
good
want to
vibe.
name any names?
No, not
Okay.
today.
Yeah.
I haven't lived there for 10 years though, and because even when I moved away from Colorado, I felt like I didn't go back and visit as much as I did like go to Texas to see because then my mom and my dad kind of lives in Colorado, but my mom moved back to Texas. So I'm just
Gotcha.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't feel that. I wish I felt more connected to Colorado.
Yeah, but do you feel like that it like when you meet like when you move because then after you left Colorado you went to Oregon, and like when you met kids
Also known for chill little pothead children. Yeah.
You're like, but I'm still not a hippie.
Yeah,
From
fuck that.
Texas, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. You just ask me. It depends on who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
Like if they're like rather vibe with me. If I'm from Texas, I'm from Texas.
Yeah.
If they're from Texas, I'm not from Texas because I can't keep up that
Yeah.
lie. I have to. They're like, oh, I'm from Austin. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm from Colorado.
Yeah, you're like, never mind.
Yeah, no, but I did spend the
Yeah.
majority of my childhood there.
But like, so
In Oregon.
did you feel like there was like when you met kids from like Oregon or whatnot? Did you feel like when they talked about their experience as like teenagers or as kids, it sounded or seemed like different than yours?
No, it seems super similar, but that also could be meaning I'm just only encountering the same type of people. I'm like, oh, you guys like to binge drink and we're 19? Let's go for it. Like,
Yeah.
So,
do you have siblings?
yeah, I have 2 older sisters.
You have 2 older
who
sisters.
are very amazing and successful.
And were you always close with it? Like, did you guys always get along?
Yeah, I
or-
think so for the most part. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, of
and
course,
you-
there's sister battles, but
yeah.
you know.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I'm an only child, and I always like.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like you couldn't tell. No, I'm a like big time only child, and I
What's
always
an identifier of an only child? Like, what's one quality? Because I don't.
selfish.
Really?
I mean, I don't know, not selfish. I just, I mean, yes, selfish a little bit.
Are you bad at sharing?
Yeah, 100. Like when I was like, my parents loved to tell me this story about like my cousins were coming over, and they had gotten me like a bag of jelly beans.
Okay.
And they were like, hey, why don't you get your jelly beans and you can share them with your cousins. And they came into the kitchen and I had taken out one jelly bean and I was trying to cut it in half.
Oh my gosh.
To like give to them. So
Wow.
sharing was and then I think I learned and I was like, okay, I need to like
Not be a
not
dick.
be a dick.
So you just share for appearances purposes to make yourself not look like an asshole, but you're dying inside?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. And
learning.
also like I feel like people this is gonna sound like a humble brag, but I feel
Okay.
like people sometimes think that like I'm a good listener because I like ask a lot of questions, but it's mostly because I'm anxious that I know I would rather be talking about myself and I'm like, no, okay, I need to like I don't want to be this person who they're like, he's always like, you never get a word in with him. It's always about him.
I'm kind of like that. I cut people off. I'm really bad at that. At least I acknowledge that, and I want to work on that.
Yeah.
But I'm the youngest, and I think I'm pretty selfish too. Well, but then that means we're comedians.
Yeah. I think there's like a natural union there. Mm-hmm. But I also cut people off. But my big thing is I really try to circle back if I cut someone off and say like, hey. I'm sorry I cut you off. What were you gonna say? Because, and this is maybe gets to the comedy thing. A lot of times, the reason I'm cutting you off is I'm like, I've got a good joke, and the timing is important here. Like, if I don't get it out right now, it's not gonna land.
Good
so
point.
I gotta cut you off to get this in. And then I'm like, okay, you were saying something about your mother dying.
I'm just not that patient. So like, if I'm having a conversation with somebody that I don't want to have, like, I will just walk away. And like, somebody said that to me the other day. They're like, Marnie just like if she's not interested, she walks away. And I don't know if they were criticizing me or praising me for it, but I was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna stand around and like think I'm gonna die if I listen to this person's shitty story for 2 more seconds. I don't know. I meet a lot of people. I think
you need more of everybody. That. Like, I wish I had more of that because it's like there's those people who just like, I always make the analogy that they're just like playing, you're trying to play tennis. Like, conversation is like playing tennis, and they're just like spiking the ball over the fence every time. Like, yeah.
Or they just make me feel uncomfortable. If they're like, and then that happens, and you're like, were you done? Are you supposed to be funny? Because I'm lost, and I don't know what you want from my face, and my face doesn't lie. So.
Okay. Well, so one more thing about like when you were a kid. Okay. I'm always interested to hear comedians like what their first thing that was like how they got connected to comedy, like how did you discover stand-up, or like what was the first thing that really made you laugh? Like for me, I remember when I was like 5, I used to rent these VHS tapes of the Three Stooges with my friend Matt Addis, and we just like thought that was like, I wish like that was the best mushroom experience I've ever had, was like being 5 years old watching the Three Stooges with Matt Addis.
Oh gosh, I've never been a big Three Stooges girl.
It's myself. Not, it's stupid, it's not good. Yeah. But like if you're a 5-year-old, you're
they're like doink
each other.
Yeah. So I try to think back on this, and actually the more I think about and reflect on it, the more I think it makes sense that like my life path led me to comedy or whatever. But something I used to love Tenacious D as a kid.
Yeah, of course.
I remember, of course, watching Dane Cook when I was probably like 13, and that was amazing.
Yeah.
Fuck whatever you say about Dane Cook. He would fucking set the path, so say whatever you want about him.
Yeah.
He should be respected a little bit, despite dating like 19-year-olds now, but whatever.
Yeah. And also, I think what Dane Cook is also underrated for is like, he had a streak of comedy movies there at that peak.
Oh, yeah.
That were like fucking, I mean, maybe it was because I was 15.
Yeah,
but
those seem like a 15-year-old. I don't think I've ever seen them, but I feel like it's just like, is that Rebecca? Like, like looking like that or something like that. So, but Dane Cook, Tenacious D, and then always with my friends as a kid, all I wanted to do was like perform. Like, we would write sketches and bits and things all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, even if probably what we were doing, I wish I could remember them, and I know we filmed some of them. So like my friend's aunt probably has some. Or like Hazel probably has some. But we were always writing skits, and I'm sure what we were doing is just ripping off of movies. Or like, I loved Austin Powers, so I used to quote Austin Powers at the dinner table, and my family would laugh at me, which is so bad that they were encouraging that behavior. And then
the seed was planted.
Yeah, but then a year later, it's like, shut the fuck up, Marnie. We know, fat bastard. Okay,
we got it.
You've done your fat bastard twice today.
You want to know if we're horny?
Yeah. So, and I think my family's really funny.
Yeah.
So I think we just respond with funny things, and then how I got into it, I told you, is just like my friend was doing it, and I had all these weird things written down, like in journals and stuff, and then I was like, oh, I guess I could say these.
Yeah.
And then I went with it.
So, but you say your family's funny, like, is like, was there one, like your mom or your dad or one of your sisters who was like the one who was like really with the jokes?
I think when we were growing up, my middle sister was like really funny. And I remember when I got into comedy, all my childhood friends being like, "Oh, I always thought your sister would be the one," and I was just like, "Well, fuck yeah."
Yeah.
Oh.
And that's exactly why I have to do it.
Yeah. No, it's my turn.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I think all of us are like in our own certain ways, and like, I don't know.
Like roast each other funny or
yeah,
like
especially all of us making fun of the hippies of Colorado.
Oh,
Look
yeah.
at that guy. And we're all in a suburban being like, oh God,
yeah.
take off the Birkenstocks, you know? So yeah, I think kind of like roasty. Yeah. And then also like very loving, but
Yeah. I remember, sorry, this is a very random tangent,
Go
but I
for it.
remember the very first time I saw someone with dreadlocks.
Okay.
My parents sent me to this like very upper middle class. It was like a camp where like every
Was it a black person with dreadlocks or a white
no,
person?
it was a white person.
Okay, because that is a huge difference.
Yeah.
So the first time you
So
saw
the first time I
the
saw-
horrifying image of a
Yeah.
white person with dreadlocks.
And I thought he had poops in his hair because they were like
Oh.
the shape of like poops.
But
and I
because he was a
like,
white man who shouldn't have had dreadlocks.
And I was really, and he smelled kind of bad. It was a pirate camp, I should say. Like,
Oh, God.
we were on like a boat, and
Wait, so you
Anyway.
went to clown college, you went to pirate camp,
yeah, my parents,
trapeze school.
they were like, it's not enough that you're like Buddhist vegetarian. You're gonna,
Yeah.
you're gonna sell drugs
Yeah.
if we have our say.
They were probably trying to get you to dread your hair. They were like, yeah, just
Yeah.
one more thing. One more thing.
Yeah. Okay, so your sisters and you guys would like roast each other, and then you said before you started, you did your first open mic in
Yeah.
Eugene,
Yeah.
and you said you had stuff like written. What
Yeah.
were you just like journaling or like what?
I don't know what it was. It was like funny notes on my phone, and I don't know what I was doing with them. They had just built up over the span of a couple years, and so I think it was always in the back of my mind. And like, I went when I turned 21. I like went to see Natasha Leggero, and then I started going to like more comedy shows, like professional ones, and so I think it was just like slowly building up, and then the confidence just slowly getting there. But I don't even know that I knew they were for stand up. They were just.
Was Natasha Leggero your first like professional comedy show?
No. I mean, I've been to. I don't know. Actually, maybe.
Because
That seems so weird now because now I feel like I've been to so many, or like all I do is go to comedy shows. So I'm like, what? Like thinking
Yeah.
back to the point where I'd only seen one sounds like what a
But,
breath
like,
of fresh
yeah.
air.
But also like because I just remember specific like I like the first comedy show I ever went to was at the Punchline. It was
Where's that? What city is that? in?
San Francisco.
Okay.
And it was Doug Benson, and like I just like I don't even like I'm not even like that into his comedy. Sorry, Doug, if
Sorry,
you're watching. I
Doug.
know you're a big fan.
Doug.
Doug, you're my boy, Doug.
Doug. Benny. Dougie Benny boy.
But like the first time you go to like a real professional show, like
Yeah.
that's like another like level because you've seen stand-up specials and you're like, oh, this is funny.
Do you want to know something really embarrassing?
Yes,
So
please.
the day
Is this an exclusive? Am I getting an exclusive?
it's an
right?
exclusive,
Okay.
but I've actually only rarely told this to people, so this is it's really embarrassing, but it's been resolved.
Okay.
So, it was my 21st birthday, so I was wasted,
Yeah.
and it was Natasha Leggero's show, and it's her birthday. We have the same birthday,
Oh,
so of course
shit.
I also like love that, and I
Yeah.
just think I just really like her.
But also as a comedian, I'm already like, this sounds like trouble.
I don't know how many times I did it. I'm gonna say at least 3, and that's like being generous on my part to not make me look so bad. But I just kept being like, "Happy birthday! Happy birthday! Happy birthday!" You know what I mean? And
Oh god.
and then of course I learned like a couple years later how horrible that is or
Yeah.
whatever. So one time I was on Instagram and she had just posted something, so I like wrote her like, in 2014 I heckled you on your birthday in Portland, Oregon at the Helium Comedy Club, and I'm so sorry. I never do it again. I've changed my ways. And she just wrote back, "I forgive you." And I was just like, yeah.
That is like.
But it was a lesson to learn too, for sure. And I'm so humiliated by that,
Yeah, but I mean, you were 21. Like I
don't
mean,
know.
yeah. But I also, for me, what I think is so cool about that is like, for her, like I bet she doesn't even remember that show.
None of us would if you were
like what a great response. You know what I mean? Like,
I forgive you.
I forgive you.
Yeah.
Like, it's that's big dick energy.
Oh yeah, the biggest dick energy. I'm sure she has a big one. No, so that is an exclusive that makes me look a little bad, but I've changed.
But I mean, I don't know. You're 21. That's, we've all been obnoxious when we're 21.
I thought you meant right now, and I was like, yeah, I wish.
You were 21.
Yeah.
You're not 21.
No.
Okay. All right. No, it's
not
my
21
timeline
months
is all screwed up.
in my giant baby onesie that Hazel gave me.
Shout out Doug Benson and Hazel. Yeah, so you heckled at this comedy show, but so
yes.
you had these notes in your phone, like little things, like premises, basically.
Yeah, I think so. Like stories I wanted to tell. I actually have my first notebook. I could go find it, but it's like I had one like I'm a lot like an In-N-Out burger, single with cheese. That was one of them.
Can I tell you one of my first ones?
Yeah.
I just rediscovered. I have all the voice memos from like 8 years ago when I first tried.
Oh no!
And I like went and I listened to one of the first ones, and oh my god, if you want to give yourself a panic attack.
Okay.
But I had this one where I was like, my parents are lesbians, which is like diet gay. Like, I don't know what was I.
I think that's funny.
I was like, I don't know.
I think that's funny, honestly.
Yeah, really.
I remember one, and I actually still use it sometimes. Like I've made it better, but it was something like I hate when girls talk about like something, and you can't tell if they're talking about their boyfriend or their dog. Yeah. And so it's like, oh, like he's so cute. He gives me kisses every morning. Yeah. Like the other night he shit on the carpet. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
good.
It was something like that. So when I started out in Eugene, I was like really confident with this set that I had, and the girl who was
how many minutes were you doing?
3, I don't know.
Yeah.
And this girl that was running the, like, when I say comedy club, I mean like club as in group.
Yeah.
So the group, she was super encouraging, and she would always like invite me back, or she would be out of town, so she'd invite me to host, just really like pushing me to do things, or like record this hilarity for charity, or like she signed me up for this comedy competition in Eugene. And I've only ever performed at this back of this pizza parlor. And so I go to this contest, and it's like a dinner theater, that was raising money for the Humane Society. And so it was like, those like little tables with a candle. Yeah, people are like eating dinner and everything. And I was so confident that I was going to win. I was not going to win.
Yeah.
And I was so confident. I don't know. I was so overinflated confidence. And so I go, and I had like one joke that I was like, I'm from Boulder, Colorado, which means I'm a privileged pothead who knows about recycling or something like that. And like, or something about like feeding almonds to squirrels. And then I just bombed for like 5 minutes. I was destroyed afterwards. And I get off stage, and that really nice girl, she was like, Marnie, did you see what was on the stage with you? And I was like, no. And she was like, there's a giant crucified Jesus is the backdrop for this competition. So you're just telling stand-up in front of this giant, like, bleeding Jesus.
Oh, no.
But
it's also like a dinner theater.
But it's also a dinner theater, because it's like a proper theater. So then she gets on stage, and she just goes, give it up for this guy. Yeah. And the room just explodes. And like, that was such a good lesson of like being aware of your surroundings, looking on stage, acknowledging what's actually existing in the room, but like just thinking about how confident I was to be like, you ever feed a pistachio to a squirrel?
Yeah. You're like, this kills at the pizza joint.
Yeah.
Like,
and it didn't either. Yeah. I was just trying and just motivated, I guess.
Yeah. But so what, like the very first time at the pizza place, like were you like nervous? Like how did it go? What was the feeling afterwards?
I was really nervous. I think I already had like the resting heart rate of a rabbit on speed. So I was like really like heart beating fast and like warm. And I talked really fast.
Were like your friends there and stuff?
So the one person that I had seen doing comedy the week before, he's like a friend of a friend, and a buddy.
College, and you're like, a friend of a friend at that point is like, oh, we're friends.
Yeah, a buddy, yeah. And also because I started college late. Mm-hmm. So then a lot of my friends had graduated by the time that I was a senior in college. So I wasn't really like hanging out at my college. Like I was working a job and like
okay.
going to school. Like I wasn't like in college. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
this was a nice thing to like be involved. 'Cause, like I don't give a fuck if you throw football. Like I'm not
Yeah.
gonna go watch.
Yeah. Go
you do that.
Ducks.
Yeah, go Nike. Sponsored suck ups. I mean, just kidding. Go Ducks. No, there are very talented athletes. I'm not trying to shit on athletes. I just don't
But
care.
yeah, no, it's not. And it is, there's like, I think there's like this growth, because I was super into sports from like age 11
Okay.
to like 20, basically.
I'm just laughing because earlier we had a conversation like I just like feel naturally good at this or something, and then it was like never sports.
You never
But I played them
sports.
forever.
No, really. I mean, I wanted to be so good at sports, and I was just terrible. Like, I
Okay.
had no hand-eye coordination. I was awful. But I also, like, I was really into it. But I think for me, I just was like, I felt like this is how you, like, fit in with guys.
Like, oh, okay.
Like, and so I was like,
Well,
I
that
was
might be
kind
a
of,
result
like,
of-
cosplaying as a sports fan. I was like, great plays out there.
Yeah, you're like love my Giants.
Yeah.
Is that San Francisco? Yeah.
100%.
So you were just like pretending to, cosplaying as a man.
Yeah,
That's
I
really
was-
funny.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, oh, this is like what men like to
Yeah.
talk about, and
Were your parents encouraging too? Like,
So-
look, honey, we
so
bought him a
sweet.
baseball bat.
oh my god,
He thinks it's a cane.
my moms were so encouraging and so sweet, and at one point. My mom Laura was so excited. She came home and she had gotten me what she thought was a Giants hat.
Okay. It was just a giant hat. It was
yeah.
huge.
It was
the biggest hat.
It barely fit in the door.
I slept in it for
yeah.
5 weeks.
I actually lived out of it, not by choice. And
Aiming for that giant hat in Colorado at the base of the Flatirons.
That was my beginning of my comedy. It was just my whole set was about this hat.
This giant hat. People call him Hacky. Hattie.
That was.
I'm sued.
Yeah.
I'm being
Okay.
So your mom bought you this
so
Giants hat.
She bought me this Giants hat, and I loved the San Francisco Giants, the
Okay.
baseball team, but I like the Oakland Raiders, the football team.
Ooh,
And, like,
silver and black, baby.
Silver and black. You kind of know your Bay Area sports references.
I've been around the block.
Yeah. All right. All right. I didn't. Okay. I gotta. So it was like pretty sick.
Yep.
Sports and
Pigskin.
throwing it around, kicking it around.
Toss it.
So, but there's like this dumb rivalry between the two teams, right? So if you like the Raiders, you hate the Niners, and if
Oh,
you like
okay.
the Giants, you hate the A's.
Got it.
And so I was a Giants and a Raiders fan. My mom was so happy she brought me home this Giants hat, and it was a Niners hat because they both just say SF on
Oh,
them,
okay.
you know, but it's a different logo. And then I was trying to pretend like I was happy, but she could tell like, what's
It's
the
not the
problem?
right
And I was
one.
like, it's a Niners hat. Why did you give me a Niners hat? I hate the Niners. And she
Oh.
was like, I thought it was a Giants hat. So they were sweet and
So
supportive.
moms try.
They try.
Yeah.
They try. And
Hey, I don't fucking
I thought that
blame
would
her.
have been a better story. Honestly, when I started, I was like, "This is gonna be good.
This is a killer
This
story.
is a killer story."
It just makes you look like a dick. You're like,
Yeah.
I split my jelly beans with a knife, and you bought the wrong hat, Mom. You
Yeah.
bitch. Yeah.
You dumb bitch. And on the last podcast, I was shitting on my girlfriend for getting me a backpack for my birthday
Oh my. Why?
because I wanted a Lego.
What, wait, what
specifically.
was the Lego that she recently got you that took you an hour to do or whatever?
It was the
Or a night.
lunar lander, the first.
Oh,
you know,
the lunar
the
lander.
It was the lunar lander. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
It's pretty cool, and I've watched too many Gary Vee videos, and so I
Oh,
also
no.
filmed myself making. The
Imagine
Lego.
every day.
And I was like, this could be something, and then I was like, it's just me making a Lego. This is nothing. Like, why did I do that?
You know, I'm kind of like a glorified babysitter.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes, I like watch After Kids for money.
Yeah.
So when they have Legos,
It's
you know.
important that you're doing it for money.
Oh yeah.
If you're
Definitely.
just watching After Kids, that's problematic.
Yeah, just at the bus station.
Yeah.
Just waiting
Yeah.
for that tren escolar. It's a school train with just school children. Anyway,
Really?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Well, it's
Okay.
a great plan.
It is a great plan, yeah. And you can't ride it then as an adult, right? Like if you're just commuting,
Yeah.
or you wouldn't want to go on because it's like,
No, well, I mean, you shouldn't be
you
allowed
shouldn't-
on.
Okay,
Yeah.
no.
Like, I guess I'll take this train to work. Yeah. No, dude, you're not getting
Are
away
you
with
guys
it.
getting off at this stuff?
Oh, my briefcase full of candy just knocked
Yeah.
over. Oh, come here, children.
So we were talking about.
So I do their Legos, and they do it so slow. And sometimes I just be like, let me get this done. You know what I mean? And
you
like,
want to play with it, don't you?
Yeah. I want to set it up so many times. It's so hard to try to convince kids of the toys that you want to play with in that moment. You're like, she has a fucking Barbie Jeep. I want to play with the Barbie Jeep. And then you're like, so do you want to play with this? She's like, nah, I don't like it. And you're like, I just want to play with you got sick toys. I feel like
when you get to the next level of babysitting, right? Where you're like playing these mind games with them where you're like, I mean, your mom told me we couldn't play with the Barbie Jeep, but I guess if you really want to.
Yeah. I just wish I could borrow it. Like, one of them has this really fun board game, and I just don't have the confidence enough to ask the family, like, can I borrow this board game for a week? Because I love this board game so much, and every time I play with your daughter, she breaks the fucking rules. So
daughter's cheating.
I want to take it home and play with somebody who will actually follow
the rules.
The path of life.
Wait, is it life?
It is life.
I feel like, I don't want to tell you to dream bigger, but you could probably just get life.
I know, but like, am I gonna?
It's hard to get your hands on life.
Okay. Can we Google it and see how expensive? Not right now, but we don't have to Google it right now.
Should
but
I don't.
I want to see how expensive it is because I bet that game is like $50, and I don't know if I'm gonna pay 50.
Don't they have some sort of like Craigslist? Like you could get a secondhand.
Oh
life.
Yeah, and then have the car come and it's been chewed up by a Cocker Spaniel. No.
Oh.
Those spinny wheels missing the 8.
Okay.
You know.
All right. You're right. You don't want a secondhand life. You want your own first
I want my own
shiny, brand new life.
I want to choose which way I get into debt. Is it school or career?
That's a weird game, though, because then you're also
sad.
like the point of the game is like get children.
Yeah. Or not.
Or not.
Or like a vacation home.
Yeah.
It's like playing The Sims.
But aren't you just like filling up your car with like little people?
Yeah. You are.
So you're just like, these are my friends.
Yeah. No. It's like, you got twins. And I'm like, I just had twins 4 spaces ago.
Physically, it's not possible.
I just had only one payday.
Yeah.
I need maternity leave. I'm ripped to shreds and I've been living in this car.
Like, there's no healthcare in life.
Yeah. No, I think they even like penalize you for it. But in this new game of life, you get like this new game of life. Yeah. This is what I want to play so badly. So you also they have like side challenges or something. I don't know because we've never played correctly following the rules. Yeah. But even one of them is doing stand-up comedy. I love her. But it's doing stand-up comedy. Really? So it's like stand-up comedy, like 200 points or something like that. Like, you get $200. I was like, I fucking wish.
Yeah. You're like, what are they headlining?
This guy's just an open micer. What the
fuck? Yeah. Okay, so that was a fun life detour. Yep. But I want to talk about still your comedy journey a little bit. So you start with the pizza thing. The first time you
Pizzagate.
It's the real Pizzagate.
Yeah.
But afterwards, were you hooked, or were you kind of just
Totally. Yeah. I just kept coming back like I think it was every Thursday or every Wednesday. And that was all the opportunities. And then I started even doing the open mics at the bars around Eugene, Oregon.
Okay. How was that?
I mean, I was still so new. So I was just like, thank God I had overinflated confidence, or I should have quit, obviously, because it's really bad when you first start, like anyone is.
Yeah, of course.
But I just kept, I was totally hooked. And then, of course, that girl was really supportive doing the competition and everything. And then I already had planned on moving here. Like, before I even started comedy, I knew I was moving to Spain in like August or something.
And why was it Spain? Because like there are a lot of countries you could be an au pair in, right?
So I did the au pair website. It's called like aupairworld.com. Not sponsored.
Yeah, but they could be.
They could
Get
be
in
Au Pair
contact,
World.
reach out.
Yeah, you did a great job, actually. So then I learned Spanish in college.
Okay.
Because they were like, you have to take a science course. Science and math, or like arts and language. And I was like, yo hablo español. Yeah. There we go. Vamos.
And did you actually learn Spanish in college?
Yeah. I had a good teacher. And then she also did something like push me to do something. She signed me up to go abroad. And she was like, I signed you up for it because you're going to be great at it. And then I got super passionate about it.
Can you be bad at going abroad?
No, like she just thought I would like enjoy the opportunity.
No, I know,
yeah. And yeah, you can be bad at going abroad, definitely. I knew a lot of those bitches in my program. No.
Okay.
Yeah, so, you can definitely be. Oh, God, there's one of them, too. Still to this day. Anyway.
Like, and for you, bad at being abroad is it's just like you're not getting the most out of the experience.
Yeah, and you're a stupid bitch.
You're just a dumb
bitch. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway. comedy.
So you get signed up to go abroad.
Oh, so I learned Spanish, whatever. I learned Spanish in college. So then when I decided to be an au pair, because I knew I was going to graduate college and I wanted to go abroad and not be a stupid bitch. And
okay.
I knew I wanted to go abroad.
Dream big.
Dream big. So I looked on Au Pair World because I had a friend who did it in Germany the year before. So I was like, I want to get out of the U.S. for like a year, see how I feel, blah, blah, blah. And so since I spoke Spanish, I just looked in countries that spoke Spanish. So I looked at homes in Argentina mostly, Mexico, and Spain, because those were really the three countries. There wasn't like a lot of families in, let's say, Peru looking for an American nanny to come watch their kids. So it was mostly in Europe. So then I talked to one family in Madrid, and they were all right. And then I talked to this family in Barcelona, and we just like immediately loved each other. I love them to this day. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it was so cool. And so I lived with them for a year, and that's how I chose Barcelona, or else I knew nothing about Barcelona. I didn't know that Catalan was a different language. I knew zero. I knew nothing about Spain.
But so you came to do the au pair thing while you were studying abroad?
No. The study abroad thing was just to explain how I knew Spanish.
Okay.
And why I chose to keep looking in Spanish countries, because I had gotten really into learning Spanish and just like speaking Spanish. And
okay. And so then you're like, you get this au pair thing in Barcelona, and you're like, Barcelona seems, it's at the beach. Beaches are nice.
I had one friend actually from Mexico, and I called him, and I was like, you've been to Madrid and Barcelona. Which one should I go to? And he goes, oh, honey, you're like, go to Barcelona. And I was like, okay. And then I did. And I was even like, right before I graduated college, I needed to like pass this one Spanish class, and I was trying to just like plead my case to this woman. And she was like, well, what are your plans with Spanish? Like, are you serious about this? And I was like, yes, I'm moving to Barcelona like in 2 months or something. And she was like,
she's like, it's Barcelona.
No, and she goes, they speak Catalan there. And I didn't know what that was. So I was just like, well, I knew that, like I totally went home and Googled it and everything. But, now I think I did send her an email once when I was drunk, like being like, I live in Spain now, bitch, and I speak Spanish. I totally did. She didn't respond to me.
Wait, she didn't respond to that message?
No.
That's
I even
so
quoted
surprising.
I even quoted one of the poems from our class back to her. I was really embarrassed. Why am I telling people this?
I mean, that's hilarious.
It's just a fantasy that I have, like, to show all my Spanish teachers from like high school in the past and college and everything.
That you did it.
Yeah.
Fucking
yeah. Take that.
Yeah. I had this professor. I studied broadcasting when I was in college, and I had this professor Dan, and he always was like so critical of my work, and I was like way too fragile to like take the credit. But he was just trying to make it good. And actually, I think about some of the stuff that he says now. But I had a similar thing where at some point I like made a video that I thought was really good, and I like sent it to him, and I was like,
there it is. Did he say anything?
He was like, A+.
Oh, really?
It was the best moment of my life.
That is so good. That feels really good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
So it had a happy ending.
Also, maybe you just weren't paying him to be mean to you anymore. He's like, I don't give a shit. A+, kid. Get the fuck out of here.
He's like, who are you?
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super good.
So you come to Barcelona, and was there like a culture shock for you at all, like being here? Did you feel like you found a way to fit in right away?
I don't know, because I did find comedy within my first week of being here, because I just Googled. So I Googled comedy shows. I went to a comedy show, and then on the wall they said open mics on Wednesday. So I went on Wednesday, and I sat down next to this guy, and I go, oh, I'm actually interested in doing it. And he goes, oh, I know Matthew Murtha. Let me introduce you. And then they were like, you want to be a comedian, kid? Okay. And then we went out and like got wasted, like my first week here. Like I met
now you're a comedian.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, there wasn't so many people here. I mean, there were. I don't want to like any disrespect to anyone who was here, obviously, but like it's obviously grown a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't know about culture shock. I think that just like came with time too. But
what about like the I always have sometimes I have a hard time telling, like if I feel like if I say it out loud somehow, and then people are like, ooh, like was it weird to tell your host family, like they're like, where are you going tonight? Like,
no, because they were amazing people, so they were like completely supportive of what I did. I think I even like, and I've had conversations with them about this now, because I like apologize for like not being so present, and like I was staying out really late, and so I definitely kind of abused their like trust for me and their like freedom that they gave me, because I think they would have liked if I was hanging around more at the time. Yeah. But it's 5 years later and we still see each other. So at the end of the day, it kind of all worked out. But I think also I've like done a lot of like weird stuff, or I've been places and I've traveled like I don't know, I adapt pretty easily. So things
Yeah.
don't really, I'm not like super overwhelmed by things like that. And then
Yeah.
I was here for 5 years without leaving.
Yeah.
Like almost 5 years to the day.
And can you say that you couldn't leave, or?
Yeah, we can say that.
Okay.
Yeah, so
And what about, like, I'm always just interested to hear, like, also about, like what about, like, homesickness?
Well,
Or,
homesickness
like,
was like horrible. Like horrible still to this day. It's horrible. And also the older you get, the more you like want to be around your family, and then you're
course,
also
yeah.
married to someone from a different country and you also want to be around their family. So you just it's a lot, but the homesickness was really hard, but I also just like suppressed it, you know. Just really suppressed it. And
You're like, I'm just telling jokes.
yeah, and so my mom came twice and my dad came once.
Was the
and-
hardest thing for you
Let's back up. That thing falls over
Okay.
sometimes, sorry.
but was the hardest thing, so obviously the hardest thing was being apart from your family?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
stuff. But were there other things, like, are there other things that you miss?
Dryers. I miss having
Oh.
a fucking dryer.
Amen. Preach.
This is really materialistic, but I have a nice car back at home,
Oh,
so I miss
yeah.
my car. I miss driving. I don't miss being able to understand what's going around outside me,
Yes.
because if I don't want to pay attention, I don't have to. And I
Yeah.
also don't speak Catalan fluently, so I can understand a little bit of it, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to be like, I don't speak it fluently. You don't speak it
Yeah.
at all, bitch.
Yeah.
So like if
I saw you reading the menu today.
yeah, I was like, I knew like I was like pencils are peas and beefsteak steak.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I hope you enjoyed your lunch. I was like, you have chicken is the only option. I know there's 40 words up there, but they all say chicken.
Chicken.
Do you want a chicken or a sausage, German boy?
But I would never eat chicken, so we would never say that.
No, you didn't
Of
get
course
chicken.
didn't
I
have
got the chicken.
You got the chicken, and I just drank some water.
There you go. Ordered a coffee at the
yeah,
wrong
I
time in
ordered it
Spain.
yeah, they did not like
They
that.
did not like that. No, she actually didn't give any flack
Yeah.
to it. It was
Yeah.
fine. What were we talking about? I keep
So,
getting sidetracked.
you being the
adaptable.
homesickness, or
Oh.
like stuff you miss from the States.
Oh, so I
kinda.
don't miss being able to hear what's going on around me, because I felt like when I
Yeah.
got back to the U.S., I was like so overwhelmed, because this is an
Yes.
international city too. You'll hear people speaking Swedish, German, like I mean
Yeah.
everything under the sun. All right, French, like I mean just
Totally.
languages you don't even know. You're like, where the fuck was that from? So then when I was like in the U.S., you know, I'm just like hearing 10 people behind me. I'm like, she wants onions on the burger, Gary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she said it 4 times.
Yeah, no, I have the worst problem with eavesdropping. Like, if I'm out to dinner with somebody and the people next to us speak loudly, like, I'm not gonna be a good dinner partner.
Nope.
Because it's like,
But don't you enjoy that in Germany? Like you kind of have your ears off in a sense that
Totally.
you're just kind of like living in this oblivion, to be honest. You know?
no, 100%. I love. It's like my grandma. She was like deaf, but she had the hearing aids.
Uh-huh.
And there would always be a certain point at dinner where she would just like flick the hearing aids
Yeah.
off, like, I'm done with this now.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like living abroad is a little bit. You're kind of just like,
That's kind of
okay.
my opener right now. So, you know, I've been trying stand up in Spanish this week.
Uh-huh.
So my opening is I kind of apologize for how bad my Spanish is lately, even though I'm married to a Spanish man. Every time he talks to me, I just turn that off.
Yeah.
And then I say it's not the only part of my body that turns off when he talks to me. And it got a laugh last night.
Yeah,
So
that's
suck
good.
on that. Yeah.
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 What are the Spanish audiences? Do they feel like different? Is the laughter different? Is the
Well, I don't-
like?
I don't have that much experience. I mean, I
You've gone
go
to
to a
see,
lot of
like,
shows.
his- Arnaud's shows.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know how to properly answer that. I do think there's a difference, but I'm not sure exactly what it is. I think Spanish audience really like well-written jokes. Probably they like political jokes, just like any
Yeah.
other person in their country would.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to get a read on it for me yet, because sometimes I think they're being really nice by like giving me a chance
Yeah.
to, you know, explain myself. And then also like there's one person here from England and he doesn't have a Spanish accent. He speaks great Spanish, but he doesn't force an accent. So it kind of sounds silly, right?
Yeah.
And so I noticed when I would slip into that, because that did happen, you know, just
Yeah.
on accident, you kind of,
Totally.
you lose your accent. You're not fully playing it off. But they loved that. And that was like, oh, I don't want to fall into that. Like,
Yeah.
just like being a fake of this. Not that I'm saying
Totally.
Alex is at all. I'm saying
Yeah.
that, like, me personally, how I felt about it was
Yeah.
just like, I don't want to be like hacky in the sense that,
Yeah, that they're like, oh, haha, you don't really speak Spanish. Like,
Yeah, like she's trying, or like, you know, like, oh, she
Yeah.
fucked up or something, you know, but
yeah, I think that's
I don't know
an-
yet. I don't
like,
have enough.
That's an interesting, even just doing English in, I mean, maybe it's just like this in any like city or scene where you're doing stand up.
Uh-huh.
But it's something I kind of try to actively avoid in Berlin, which is like a lot of people do humor that's like about Berlin or like about German specifically stuff that it's like, it's not like they're bad jokes. They're good jokes a lot of times, but
You can't travel with them.
You can't travel
Oh,
with them.
but
yeah.
I'm living in that right now. My jokes are so Barcelona and European based, and I had to send in a video to try to get a spot in Texas next month, and I'm like
Catalonia.
no, I'm like Desigual and Mercadona, like all this stuff. So it's just like I really need to work on it. So I think that is good advice to have something that's obviously you can travel on, and I need to work on that. But again, I'm lazy, so it'll come with time.
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
That's okay. We need to pause for a second because I screwed up the thing with the SD card. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No. Save it for the pod.
Okay.
Wait, do you watch Love Is Blind?
Yes.
Okay, we just finished season 1 last night, and just because we're like in the pods, save it for the pod.
Wait, so did you watch the whole season?
I watched all of it, even to the point where it's like the 2 years later thing. Have you seen that? It is so ungodly scripted, and it's amazing.
It's
horrible,
so trashy and amazing, and
I looked all of them up on Instagram today.
Really?
Yeah.
What? So I felt okay. My favorite moment from the whole show is when, you know, there's the one girl who like came off super bad. Jessica.
Nightmare.
Poor lady.
She has a podcast.
Does she really?
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to fucking listen to.
But the best,
like, girl, you already got too much camera time.
Is when the guy who's like trying to court her is like
Mark
is like, we're gonna do a date, but we'll sit in separate
rooms. He was recreating the pod.
It's the best date we've been on. And
basically,
like, this is a problem.
Can you tell? Okay, can we all agree that she just didn't want to fuck him, and that was the problem? She just wasn't physically attracted to him, 100%. And then she lied about it. So we can't decide: is she actually a mastermind who has this plan that she wants to come off in this certain way because she doesn't just want to be upfront about how she feels, but then. Because if she was upfront about what she feels, so I really thought about this, she could get what she wanted. But the fact that she's always trying to like people please and like, it's okay, I'm just a like innocent little thing. She doesn't get what she wants, and then I don't know. It's just.
Yeah, I mean, so is your thought is like,
no,
did she want, like, was she kind of agreeing to go along with him to be on TV
and to like not look like the bad guy? Like, I'm trying to make it work, you know.
Yeah.
I can't possibly get there. It's like, girl, you just don't like looking at him.
Yeah.
And I don't blame you. But you know, it's like.
Shade.
But either that or is she just like truly dumb?
I think the first one. I think she wanted to be on TV. She didn't want to look bad, and I mean, she already like. Clearly, and the reunion is so painful where she's like, I mean, obviously, like, I have some alcohol problems, and it's like, I mean, look, if you recorded me all the time, I'm sure you
I don't
could
think
catch
alcohol's
me.
the problem. I mean, I look like that on the daily, but I'm just like, obviously there was drunk moments, but it was like, girl, your entire personality when you were sober, like, that's not, you're not drunk all the time.
Well, and I mean, it's just and I just watched the second season.
Okay, I've seen that one too. I watched the second season before I watched the first.
Okay. And so in both seasons, I think it's interesting. There's the situation where there's the one girl who kind of like she likes one guy, but then he doesn't choose her.
Yep.
And then she kind of takes another guy as like okay, I'll take this, I guess. And that's a super fascinating situation. Both of them, to me, struck me as the type of women who maybe like aren't used to not getting their way, and so you see them kind of having this meltdown where they're like, why isn't this guy choosing me?
yeah, it's intense.
Yeah,
I would not choose that either.
Oh no, and I mean, what was your this is not where I thought the podcast was going to go, but I love it.
Okay, me too.
But what was your opinion of Shake?
Shake was the guy who was like the kind of the veterinarian,
super shallow Indian guy.
Okay, so I mean, I thought he was actually like gonna change, or I don't know. I think the editing was like insane because they really made you feel like he did change, and then obviously he didn't. But for me, he just seems like a lot of American guys, honestly. So his behavior and his commentary didn't surprise me at all. I was just like, he's just a douchebag, and like everyone trying to like fight him is just funny because you'll never take down somebody like that because he's already so down, no matter as much as he keeps up his facade.
That was okay. That was my thing with him was like, so they alluded to the fact that they edited some stuff out that he said that was worse, right?
Okay,
because they were like crucifying him, and I was like, okay, he was chauvinistic and super superficial. But he kind of was pretty consistently just like, hey, I'm not attracted to you.
Yeah,
like,
but he wasn't that upfront with her about it, I think. And then when he talked about it to men, this was like really gross, but again, didn't surprise me. And I'm not trying to be like anti-men, bashers, you guys are useless. I'm just saying that it didn't really surprise me when he was like, the guy was just like, man, maybe you should suck it up. Like, give it a try. Yeah. And he goes, what, with 6 shots in the dark? And me and my friend, we almost started crying because we were imagining if our boyfriends said that about us, that to be attracted to me, you need 6 shots of alcohol and the lights off. Like, go fuck yourself, dude.
Yeah, and she
was cool and nice.
She was cool and she was pretty, and it's not like he was some catch. Like,
oh my god, no! And you're a veterinarian, dude. Like, sorry, respect to veterinarians. Just fuck you.
My one thing with him was like everybody was like going so hard at him at the reunion show, and I was like, okay, he's clearly like trying to play this character.
Yeah.
Now, and he's like, oh, I've got my 15 minutes of fame. And like, the funny thing is, they're like, you know, he's like, I'm just trying to shake things up. Like, he's like got a catchphrase and everything.
Yeah. Merch.
But
he has
did
merch.
say the realest thing on the show where he was like, well, everybody's like, when they go on these type of shows, they're like, it's about the experiment. The experiment.
They give them the
experiment. We just want to know, is love truly blind?
Connection.
Like, bitch, like we are all of you chose to go on TV to try to get on TV.
Yeah.
Like, this is a crazy, insane way to meet somebody. It makes no sense.
Totally.
And even like the premise of like, oh, can you fall in love with someone without seeing them? Maybe that's real, but not in a week.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
What the fuck?
Totally. Because people can meet online and have like relationships and fall in love from online without seeing each other.
Yeah.
No, it's a crazy premise. It's a crazy fucking premise. Yeah.
And like the people who do get married, like what weirds me out is like, you know, some of their families are like pissed, you know, and I'm like, yes. If my daughter was like, hey, I met this guy a week and a half ago.
Well, I mean, I essentially did that to my parents. They've still to this day haven't met him.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Okay, this is great. So I wanted to talk about this anyways. So
yes.
You're in Barcelona. Your visa situation is a little bit sketchy.
Yes.
Now you meet your visa and no, I'm kidding. But you meet your now husband.
Yes.
And you like, how long had you guys like dated before you got married?
Oh, no time at all. But okay, so here's the thing. So
it to me.
No. So I'm still working through this because
like, no, wait.
No, because I have a lot of thoughts about this because so sometimes
in India, they have arranged marriage.
I'm just trying to shake things up. Okay, so I feel first of all, okay. I get kind of offended and defensive when people just refer to our relationship as like Marnie got her visa and like, oh, lucky her. And like, that's the only reason that they did that.
Yeah.
Right. So that was a huge thing. And the reason that I wanted my visa was that so I could go back to the States and see my family without being banished from Europe. However, that man is also the man that I would like to marry. Yeah. So it just made sense. And the whole motivation was that so we could go see my parents. So it was like, why are we going to wait? And the way that we did it, it actually has like very little legal standing outside of Spain in the sense where, let's say he wants to leave me tomorrow. It doesn't really affect either of us, like financially. We don't have to split assets. I don't have any assets, so that's great for him. But do you know what I mean? So it's like 100%. It's not this like huge thing. And the part that we say like we're married, that's because it's like an agreement that we've like made between ourselves. Yeah. So it feels really nice. And so actually the first time I came over, I came and I was sitting right there, and I just explained to him how I've been living my life and what my situation was, and he was like, "Oh, I'll do it for you." And countless people, like I've had tons of friends, tons of comedians too, offered to do this for me in the past, but it never felt right. And then when I met him, I was like, well, I'm in love with him, and he's offering to do this, and it's not gonna like, it can affect us positively if we want to, and or it can be canceled without huge repercussions.
Yeah.
So it made a lot of sense, and I'm also like thrilled about it.
No, that's
Not just for the visa, but for to like found someone that's gonna like ride with me. I just love him.
well, first of all, now I feel awkward that I made this joke about him being your visa.
Oh no, it's okay.
So
It's
sorry.
okay. It's okay. You know.
And second of all, I think it's super funny about we were talking about the financial repercussions, because when my Anya and I got married,
Yeah. And you wear a wedding ring.
and I wear a wedding
It's
ring.
very nice. Good job, Anya.
But she was like, maybe we should get a prenup, and I was like, we have nothing.
We don't. Yeah.
like prenup.
What, you
on
want your
what?
backpack back? Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
I'll take my Legos and I will see you in court.
Yeah. You'll have all the green pieces and I'll keep all the red pieces.
Yeah.
And so yeah, but I think we have a similar, I guess like the thing that like I always say is, well, first of all, I was more pro the idea of us getting married. Like
Okay.
I was like I'm up for it. Like I think also maybe because, not to be too sincere on a comedy podcast, but but like because of my parents and like that whole thing, like marriage to me was never like the legal thing of doing it. I was like when my parents got legally married.
Oh yeah, because you were like probably an adult, right?
Yeah, I was like 22, 23.
Crazy.
And so like, but my parents were always married to me, you know? Like,
Yeah.
so to me, like the idea of like marriage was always a bit more like, oh, it's just like the person that you're like,
Yeah.
this is my person, not like, oh, it's like this thing.
But I also kind of like that. Like it gives me some sort of like confidence or like validation in us, and I do like that too,
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
And it's also fun to joke about.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the thing I would say is it's like you were saying, like, oh, we like to say we're married and whatnot. And like, it's funny because it's when we got married, it started as a joke where I was like, oh, like it's so funny to say like my wife. And it's taken about 3 months and I'm just like, my wife
is. Well, sometimes I call my husband. Sometimes I call my boyfriend. Honestly, on stage, husband doesn't work too well.
Yeah.
People get really weirded out by it. I fuck him. I don't care. So
Yeah.
it just depends on which works best for a joke. And sometimes I even to his face call my boyfriend. Like it's not this huge deal
I
thing.
do the same. Sometimes I'm
It's
like,
all right, and we
yeah.
get it. We know what we are, and so I think the reason I get defensive about it is because if people ask questions or something like that, I feel the need to announce it or like validate it or make it clear that I'm not using him or whatever.
Yeah.
But he gets it. I get it. Our parents totally get it. They've been supportive since day one. So
Yeah. How was
It's crazy.
So when you like told your parents, how
Yeah.
did that go?
well, I had called my mom after I met him, and I was like, Mom, I met this very cute boy, and I'm going on a date with him, you know, but I'm really scared because he's a comedian, and I didn't want
yeah.
to shit where I eat, basically.
Yeah,
I had a
totally.
huge rule about that, not shitting where I'm eating.
Okay.
You know. And as like the one female comedian in a no, I'm just kidding. You know, a lot of people want to shit on you
Yeah.
while eating you.
You eat shit a couple times and you're like, I don't want to do that again.
No. I was good about that. So I was really cautious going into it with him because I also wanted to get into Spanish comedy, and I just didn't
Yeah.
want any awkwardness or him to feel like he couldn't come to shows if
Yeah.
nothing happened. And I even said that when I first hung out with him. I was like, well, if something happens, and he was like, wow, that was very presumptuous.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I called her, and then yeah, we actually did all the paperwork and everything before we told his parents, I think. Not because we were scared of how they reacted. Like, we got along immediately, and they're so loving and amazing. But because we just kind of wanted to prove that we had done it and not be like, because him and I are
just talking about
yeah,
it.
him and I are both kind of like that. Like, what if we buy boats, you know? So
Yeah.
it's like we didn't want to just be like, we're going to do this. It was like, hey, we did this. This is why we did this. This is what's happening. It's no big deal. And Marnie's going to go back to the U.S. to see
Yeah.
her family now. And my parents were super grateful. And we've talked over FaceTime, and they just love him, even though
Yeah.
they've never met him, which is wild.
But I mean, that's the beauty of the time that we live in is like, I feel like actually with FaceTime, you get like a real, like that's like, I mean, it's of course it's not the same thing as being in a room with somebody, but it's so much more than a phone call.
Yeah.
Actually.
And they can tell I love him and like how
Yeah.
much good he's like done for my life. So
And
it's
I think
been very
like
simple.
if you're like if your parents like really care about you, if they see that you're happy, they should
Yeah.
be happy. And
Yeah, that was it.
wait, so I wanted to ask about this
Okay.
because you mentioned the paperwork, and I don't know what the deal is here, but like that was such an ordeal for us. Like,
Did you have a lawyer?
no.
See, I hired a lawyer because I had a friend who did something similar, so I just used his lawyer, and they
Okay.
basically took care of it. And especially here, the way I think it works is like the lawyers buy up all the public appointments. So even if you want to go make your own public appointment, it's going to be in like December, you know? So
Yeah.
the lawyers kind of have this sneaky way of getting your appointments actually lined up and not in such a lengthy process. So let's say him and I met in like August, then we started the paperwork in November, and then January is when we officially signed it, and then July was when I actually received my like physical approval.
Okay. And did you feel different? Like, because that was a question I got a lot, like, afterwards. Like, they're like, do you feel different now that you're married? And I'm like, I don't feel different.
I feel like better
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah, I don't know. I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
I don't feel like immensely different, but I think I have grown up a lot. Even just like I've never lived with a boy before, but then it was like basically I came over here once and I haven't left, you know? So it's just like, I don't know. So it's felt really natural, to be honest.
I feel like living together is a crazier transition, actually.
Oh, we're better roommates than we are husband and wife.
In what ways? Like, what?
No, we just work really well together in terms of like cohabiting a space or sharing responsibilities.
He lets you put your puzzle pieces.
Yeah, and he doesn't even care. I have puzzles everywhere, and he doesn't even care. But he genuinely doesn't. Like if someone had a puzzle of Las Vegas up for a month, I would be like, get that the fuck out of there. Every time I was in a bad mood, I would just blame it on the puzzle. But he just like doesn't even know. Oh, I didn't even know I was there.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What do you feel like is like? Had you dated other like Spanish people before him? Or?
No, not actually Spanish men. I mean, I've definitely dated people from like all over the world living here. Oh, I don't even want to think about those people.
Well, I'm just like interested in like because I think like for me, since like Anya's German, right? And so I feel like one thing that I like about Germans is like she's like super direct, you know, like if my breath smells shitty, she's just going to be like, your breath stinks.
Oh,
like,
that's sad that was your first example.
Too real.
Yeah. You could have been like, your shirt's wrinkly. Yeah. It was like, you smell like dog breath.
Yeah. But like I like that because I'm I am the type of person who worries like what people are thinking about me.
Yeah.
And I feel like I always know where I stand with her. She's super direct and like and a bit, you know, curt sometimes, and I also kind of need that. You know, I came from this like super lovey-dovey thing, and so I'm like, oh, there's almost I think like a cultural thing where I'm like, oh, I fit well with a German. Do you notice anything like that?
I don't know about that.
Guys?
I don't think anything that makes us fit well together can be like chalked up to like cultural. I think it's just his personality, but also like Arnau speaks a level of English that sometimes people don't believe that he's Spanish because his English is like better than mine. Sometimes it's very frustrating, you know.
And so do you guys conduct most of your relationship in English?
1000%. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes a little Spanish here and there.
Yeah.
Like, should I open the window? You know, like I say that. But no, so most of it in English. And he's also like, sorry, honey, but you're very Americanized. So like he it's not like he's like totally.
He knows the references.
He knows so much about American culture.
Yeah.
And he's like, he was a copywriter for a long time. So he's like worked for American company. He like gets it. So I don't know that, but he is very like, I think I told you a little bit about this earlier, just like he doesn't so much care about what other people think where I do.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like that he like brings that back. But I don't know if that's directly being Spanish, but he teaches me something every day about Spain or Spanish culture that I didn't know. And then now I see it more.
Yeah.
Or like even like we're loud or whatever. And then I go to a family dinner and I'm like, you weren't lying. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I appreciate all of it.
Yeah. Okay. It interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you have any other thoughts about your marriage?
Oh, yeah.
So what about you? Noted you said like I have
a ring.
A ring.
Uh-huh.
And the ring was like, no.
Okay, because I remember when Hazel was visiting here in November, is that when y'all got married?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because she was like, wait, they got married. And, like, you guys had a bunch of plans, and then, or what was it? Like, you guys had planned to have one?
We were trying to get married in Denmark because
Okay.
it's easy there or something, and the Denmark government just, like, stole 300 euros from us, basically. like, we registered, and then they sent us an email like a week afterwards for like more paperwork, and we sent that, and then we just didn't hear from them for
insane.
like 3 months.
Wow,
so, like,
Danes.
they
Get on that.
They got a little scheme going there.
That's like their one scheme.
Yeah, that's how we'll get people.
Either that or our pastries.
Yeah. And so then we had to we went about doing it in Germany, and so
where they didn't steal your money.
Where they didn't steal our money, but it was more. It was like a lot more hoops to jump through.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were going to use a German word. Like, it's a lot more Hufelstinken to jump through.
Yeah. If I spoke German, I would have a funny, I could do that right now, but I'm just like, nope.
Right through.
It was just, we had to hire a translator.
But she speaks German, right?
She speaks German and perfect English, but I think the point is that since I don't speak German, they're like,
you're not.
Like a,
yeah, that you're
so
not.
You're like, yeah, the contract says you have to pay me $1,200 every month. It's part of the marriage.
Can I tell you an off story about a translator just really fast?
Please.
The other day, there was a woman, she's an American woman, in the audience, and she plays for the female basketball team of Barcelona. So she's like a fucking good basketball player.
But not that good.
No.
Yeah.
No. She's obviously very good to play in Spain.
Amazing.
But because she's American, they have a translator for her. So that means whenever she's running up and down the court, there is also a bilingual person, running the same amount of
on the court,
like on the side, right?
Yeah, but still, like, I was thinking, like, when you said that, I thought you meant like, that goes around with her when she goes shopping.
No. Like, while she's playing basketball. So, you know,
pass.
Yeah, exactly. Like, toma, or whatever they say. You know what I mean? She's like, catch, but that means that this translator is running the same amount as a professional basketball player. And I'm like, how on earth can you be like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's a really big skill set. It's like, oh, you're bilingual and a good enough athlete, but don't want to be an athlete? All right. Yeah. Come be a running translator. Okay, so you got a translator, so they made sure that you're not.
So, yeah, because they want to make sure that you're not, like, being screwed. But our translator was, like, I swear to God, he was, like, 84 years old. He mentioned that he was a widower about 5 times during the 40 minutes we were together. I mean, he was very cute.
What a sad thing to mention while you're signing marriage documents. Like, hey, by the way, one of you's going to kick the can. You'll be alone and signing other people's papers at 84 still working.
And at some point, too, we were like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. And he's like, well, 40 years was enough. Jesus.
Oh no.
But the thing was,
I think he's just pulling off bloody gloves as he says that. I'm a widower.
I'm a widower. But he was like, his English was so much worse than Anya's. And
okay.
He was like trying to translate and but he was like, they would say like, Herr Moore and Frau Proska, and he'd be like, Mr. Moore and Miss Proska, and then they do a bunch of it, and he'd be like, you take each other to be together. It's like
he missed like a lot of the words.
You're like, you don't need to like translate the Mr. and Mrs. Like my name I got. Like that's clear.
Was this like who was officiating it or like when you're signing the documents?
No, so he was like, we had to hire him to like be there and then translate everything the officiant was saying.
Got it.
So it was like us, the officiant, and then Harold, our 84-year-old
widower, murderer.
Yeah.
And then did you guys have like a wedding?
No, we just got married like at the government building, but then afterwards, like our friends came and like
had a party
and we just got like pretty drunk.
Yay, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
No, we haven't really done anything, and we like I don't know. Why?
But do you think you guys would do like a more like kind of like
okay? Well, think about
party?
it. We're watching Love Is Blind, and all I'm going is like, you don't want to see me in one of those dresses? What do you mean? Like, you don't want to look at me and cry when I walk down the like? How emotional? Like, don't you want this?
Are weddings like a thing in Spain like they are in the States?
Okay, I could be totally wrong on this. No, so A, no. But then B, I think they like have like a daytime, like they go to courthouse and like have a lunch or something like that. Like that's more of it. Yeah. Like, you know, which sounds really nice with both the families maybe. But then we always talk about, I'm like, I don't know. That's a long way off to like have a wedding. Like, I mean, I feel like
also it's so crazy because you spend all this money on essentially a party.
Well, and think about it. We're either gonna have to ask 40 fucking people from America to fly to Spain, or 40 fucking people from Spain to fly to America, which would be much funnier.
Yeah. For the comedy alone.
The comedy alone, you know, we need.
You're like, I'm gonna get 20 minutes out of this.
yeah. No, and think about it too. His dad speaks English, but not so much his mom, so our parents can't even communicate. But like, I would love to see our friends in the same place. That'd be really fun.
Yeah.
Even
that,
though
I think is the whole point to have a wedding, is just to like have your
But how can I ask my friends with careers and babies to be like, hey, can you take like a week off and come to Europe? Like, that's like
yeah.
So that's years down the road for us to deal with that issue. That is not an issue.
Yeah.
But I make it one. I'm like, what are we going to do about the peonies? Like, it's not peony season. He's like, we're not having a wedding. And I'm like, my dress.
Yeah. What kind of floral arrangement are we going to use? I don't know. I think I like the fact, like, Anya was like, oh, would we do it in the States? Would we do it? And I'm like, let's do it in Germany because I want to be able to invite a lot of people and have them not come.
Great call. Great call.
I'm like, I want you to be like, oh, he invited me. But
I just can't imagine, like, asking people to pay for that, you know? And so I'm like, I wish I was just fucking loaded that I would buy everybody's thing. Like, I feel like that's kind of, like, obligatory if you're going to ask people to travel, that, like, you should help with that because it's such a thing.
But you have to be really rich to do that.
Well, I'm gonna be.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna be.
And if you're watching this once Marnie's rich, like, get in the comments and be like,
hey, remember when Marnie was broke? Yeah. Never's like, yeah, that was not that long ago. We totally remember. Ooh, can we go scratch those lottery tickets?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I think they're going to open at 5, so we'll chill or whatever. But then we're going to see if I win today.
Yeah, that's going to be the end of the episode. We're going to have some lottery tickets.
Woo, scratch-offs.
We're going to scratch them.
Well, to be clear, one's already scratched, and we got like $1. The other one, I don't understand the rules, and neither does our now, which means they're written very poorly, right?
So you have to go ask the person how to play.
Did I win $1 or did I win $3,000? We're going for that 3,000, baby. No whammies. No whammies. No whammies.
Show money tonight.
I don't know what I would. No, I know exactly what I would do. If I won $3,000, I'm gonna buy everybody a plane ticket to Spain for my wedding.
What? Okay, we should. I feel like we should wrap up here.
I know this is so much fun. Okay,
but so I feel like we covered the comedy thing.
Yes.
We've covered the marriage thing.
Yes.
What other questions do I like to ask? I feel like what are you gonna do with your $3,000 if you win it?
Pay off my debt. Mostly, yeah. Just that.
But what?
Because that would put me right out of the hole. So that would just be like boop, and then I could go forward from there.
Yeah.
And that would feel really great.
Yeah. Okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
But what about, like, so say you get like a deal, like a show deal, and they're giving you, like, we're not talking like extravagant money, but you're like, holy shit, I'm getting like $250,000.
Oh, that's extravagant money for me.
Well, I mean, it's extravagant, but it's not like, oh, I'll never work again.
Watch me. I'll fucking eat tomatoes every day for the rest of my life and just sit around. It's how you live long in Spain.
Yeah.
What would I do? I've never had that much. I don't know what I would do. I mean, I think I would like give some away to like my friends. I'd be like, let's go somewhere or something. I don't know.
A trip?
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah.
I don't know. Now I'm thinking about it. I asked you the question, and I don't know what my answer would be.
Yeah, I mean,
my answer would just be do what I'm doing now, but stop fishing.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah, do what I'm doing now and just like use that to kind of sustain me to keep going places. But Arnau and I talk about it, and we're like, we would buy this apartment because we always talk about winning the lottery. That's very Spanish to be like, how can I win the lottery and not work? So, we always talk. We would just buy this apartment too because it's so nice.
Yeah.
Just to have it like for the rest of life.
Yeah, that would be and to have something. I always think about, like, I would love to have like either a beach house or a cabin.
Yeah, see, something like that. But this could potentially be that, right? Yeah. You have a beach house in Barcelona.
Oh, we're going to the beach house in Barcelona. It's for the weekend, you know.
Yeah, so you can hear the waves.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Okay, next. This is like the speed round.
Great,
next
I love
question. What's the worst job you've ever had?
Oh, I mean, I've babysat some shitty kids before. No, I did.
Name names.
I was a canvasser in Portland, Oregon for a day.
Oof.
But they put me in front of a shop, and then on my lunch break, I went in the shop, and I was like a dress shop, and I was like, "Are you guys hiring?" She was like, "I'm moving to the Bay in 2 weeks. You can have my job." And I was like, "Thanks." And that's how it works. So it actually ended up being a good thing. But yeah, I was a canvasser. And I remember wearing cowboy boots and like everybody, and it was like a Democratic campaign, and everyone was looking at me funny, and then I never came back.
Yeah. Okay, that would be that is that's a rough job.
Yeah, canvassing's hard.
Yeah. What about, do you have either a favorite show, like comedy show memory, or like a worst, like where you're like, fuck, maybe I need to quit, or
I've never felt like I needed to quit, which is, again, blind ignorance or whatever you call it that just keeps me going. But I don't know. There was like one of the best moments. Oh, that's kind of hard. I think just any of the best moments is like knowing when you get off stage and you fucking crushed it, and you're also trying to play cool about it. That's like a really fun, weird feeling and stuff like that. And then eventually when you're away from people, you're just like... like you're just like going crazy. So
that's also the nice thing I think about, like,
whoa,
little bug. Bug's life.
Get out of my pod.
Yeah. But that's, I think, like a fun thing about like if you're with like your like close friend or like your partner or something, is that but they also can tell they're like, you're so stoked right now and you're trying to keep it together.
Totally. Yeah. There was one time there I like went really confident. We had like a contest here in Barcelona, and I went into it like really confident, and I really worked hard on that set, and it paid off. And so it was like, wow, that felt great. But now I haven't been working as hard ever since. So I best you feel good when you work on your sets. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. What is there any other questions I want to ask? I think we covered.
I know,
like,
this was
everything.
so fun. You might have to cut parts out because we were just jibber jabbering.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. I think people are gonna love the Love Is Blind stuff.
Love Is Blind.
I mean, that was good. That was good stuff.
And Nick Lachey hosting it. Come on.
I know. And Vanessa Lachey.
She's so annoying.
Like when she went in, Anya was like, I've never seen a show host go in on one of the cast members hard. It was great. But you know what was annoying was she had her whole thing, and then at the end, Nick was kind of like, let me get the last word here.
Yeah, came around to
like, okay.
I just thought it was funny because they also acted sorry, one more thing about Love Is Blind. They also acted like they were in the experiment. Relationships are hard. Like in a marriage, blah, 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 blah. Like I know for us, it's like you guys are rich and famous. You're fine. These people are going to get a brand deal for a protein mix. Let's not pretend they're the same thing.
Yeah, and also, what a sweet gig. Like, I feel like they put in a combined, like, 2.5 hours worth of work, and I'm sure they got
Totally. And there has to be so much off-camera manipulation to make those people feel comfortable so that they don't lose their minds. Because being on television is grueling. Even just the process of it, like waiting for lighting and all of it. It's just, like, really exhausting. So... and those are just normal people with like no camera experience. So they must have to do so much off camera that I feel like also they're like, hey Nick, like Nick's here, like I'm gonna have a beer with the boys to like make them like, Nick, our master has said to keep going and that I love Veronica. It's so gross, huh?
Yeah, it's so...
Let's watch an episode.
Yeah. Okay, so where can people find you on the social media? I'll put the links in the below, but you can... My
Instagram is Marnimal. Marnimal.
Because her name is Marnie, but it also sounds like animal, so it's like a brand of animal, like
it's
Marnimal.
A Marnimal. There you go. Yeah, it was like a nickname in high school, and it just stuck.
It's a good one.
No one really calls me that, but maybe sometimes in Boulder people will.
Yeah.
Marnimal! Actually, no one does that, and I don't go to Boulder. It has happened, though. So mostly
I'm going to start doing it now.
Cool.
Like, I'm going to show up tonight and be like, shout out Marnimal!
Oh, that's so horrible. You're off the show tonight.
Okay.
You're not. Instagram's mostly what I use, and I hope in about a month I'll be kicking up and like more posting on Facebook. I have a Facebook page, Marnie Manning Comedy. Everything is mostly on Instagram, and I perform in Barcelona all the farting time and soon to be Europe.
and you host a show.
Yes.
If you're in Barcelona.
I host Faismo Cool in English every Thursday, and I host Toronto's comedy in English. It's called Comedy Reel, one Thursday every month at Toronto's, and it's a sexy venue.
Muy caliente.
We're going to do that show tonight.
Woo!
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
That was a great high five.
Oh, okay.
No, I was like, wow. I felt it.
Cool.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is so much fun.
Okay,
We're
we're here.
at the Ben Juget. We're gonna cash these bad boys.
Winner, chicken dinner.
We're looking for 3,000, baby. 3,000.
That's what we're looking for.
Una pregunta. Con esta, cuando dice que el premio, ¿eso es el premio? Ah, no es esta. Ah, vale. Ah, vale. Ok, abajo, pero no esa. Vale, pero tengo que... Perfecto, pues esta y esta, por favor.
Big money, baby. Big money.
Vale, por favor. Muchas gracias. Adiós.
What do we got?
We
Oh.
got 3 big ones, baby. 3 big ones.
Where are you going to spend it?
Whew. I got a long list of things. Thinking towards a computer.
Ooh. Dream big.
Dreaming big.